Okay, so we talked about how to get latitude. That was pretty straightforward, especially if you're going off of Polaris. A little more difficult if you're using your sun. Now, if we need to figure out longitude, that's a little bit more difficult. So as you remember, if this is Earth here, and we're judging our location based off of Polaris, and we have our latitude lines running this way, and I'm here, and I want to go here. Well, as long as I stay within this band, this latitude, that's going to stay the same. So I can use this as a means to know exactly where I'm at, heading, say, north and west. Okay? I just need to know how long it's going to take to travel. So that's pretty accurate for quite some time. We really wanted to pinpoint our exact location to really push our boundaries of exploration: guns, glory, and God. So in that case, we want longitudinal lines, these meridians, so that we know exactly where we're at here at all time, right? And we can know exactly where we're at any time. So we want to know this location here. All right, so we don't have any references in the night sky or in the daytime with sun to figure out this. So what was discovered was we can use time to do that. So in England, where this was started, that first meridian of time that we travel on is the prime meridian, and that represents 0. And so all time was based off of this idea of GMT time, Greenwich medium time, and the distance that we go from, say, 0 to here is what we're going to base our time on. So we're going to take a reading when we get to this location to see what our high noon is, or our solar noon. And we're going to compare that noon to a clock that has been on board our ship or whatever with us as we've journeyed. So for roughly every, or not roughly, but for every 15 degrees of latitude, that's going to represent 1 hour. And we get that because our globe, our Earth, is round, and we can separate our Earth into 24 time zones. 24 time zones can be broken down into those 15 minutes of latitude, or hours of latitude. Those hours of latitude can be broken down: every 1 degree equals 4 minutes. So every 15 degrees equals 60 minutes. Every 1 degree equals 4 minutes. And every quarter of a degree is going to be 1 minute of that time. And so if we are traveling east, then we're going to be in a positive direction from the GMT time. And if we're traveling west, it's a negative number in which we are basing the location of our time. So if we travel here, from here to here, and we take our reading at noon, and we look at our clock here, and it's 11 o'clock back home in England, that's 1 hour of span. That means that we've traveled 15 degrees east. Okay? So that's 15 degrees east longitude is where we're at. Now we can break that down even farther if we need to, where let's say it's 2:30 instead of noon. Well, 2:30, that's 30 degrees, because we have 15 goes into that twice, right? So 2 hours times 15 degrees per hour equals 30, and then 0.5 hours times 15 degrees an hour is 7.5, so that gives us 37.5 degrees west, as we call it, or negative 37.5 but we could just indicate positive or negative by saying east or west. Let's say we wanted to travel, and it is, at our location here, it's 4:17 a.m. back at home. Well, 7 hours difference, 43 minutes, 7 hours, 43 minutes difference. So 7 times 15 is 75 degrees. 43 minutes times a quarter is going to be 1075. So that, add those two together, that's 85.75 degrees east, because we're going negative. And that's our longitude. So as long as we know what our GMT time is, and that time stays consistent, then we're always going to know where our location is. And that was the trouble back in the day. They had to make a watch that was going to be resilient with the water, with the pitching, and so on and so forth, that when they leave, that essentially that watch is going to be able to maintain time accurately through some of those harsh conditions. So longitude is based off of time. So that's when we see a 7.5 minute map, why it's called a 7.5 minute map, because you're judging that longitudinal time that it takes, that map covers. So with that, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.